Hi, book prize lovers. I'm Peg, the book prize addict, with a exciting new book prize that's just been announced that I'm have a little story behind. I'm going to tell you about quickly here. Uh, the Dublin Literary Award Prize in Dublin has just been announced, I guess, earlier today, for the winner for the prize. This is the prize that starts with many a huge long list where people, librarians from all over the world, put in suggestions, books that have been written in English, um, to be best book of the year. So it started with this huge amount, and then it did find a short list, which has been up for about a month. And I read the short list, and I was going to put up a thing a couple days ago about the short list and who I thought would win, and it didn't happen. But when it was announced today what won, I just had to come on and talk about it a little bit. First of all, the prize goes to The Adversary, Michael Crummy. And I want to tell, first of all, that the story of my liking for this has to do with the famous booktuber, Eric Carl Anderson. I'll put a link to his book, his talk on this book below, but I'm sure anybody who watches my channel knows about Eric Carl Anderson, who attended this ceremony, and I think we'll be putting out maybe a video on his. Well, he's already put it out to his Patreon members. So anyway, let me tell you a little bit about this book and what I thought, and then what I thought later after talking to Eric about it. This takes place in Newfoundland in the 1800s, on a really out-of-the-way place on the ocean. And my first impression was, ew, it's awful. It's filled with awful people doing awful things. There's a brother and sister who are grown but are in different businesses and just try to ruin each other. Nobody's very nice in this book. The characters, and there's all kind of graphic violence and sexual abuse and everything. So in a way I thought, I don't know if I want to finish this or not. Then I remembered I have just joined Eric's book club that he has online for his rare edition Patreon members. And they were going to talk about this last week. And I just joined this group, so I was looking forward to, talking about it. And I thought, oh, I have to finish it if I'm going to, take place in the discussion, Eric's discussion. I don't like these people who join a book club and then don't read the book. So I read it. I hadn't changed too much, but I was wondering what the group would say. Well, it really changed my opinion of this book. Eric headed the way, but the people in the group are really savvy and literate, and they made me see that it was good writing and had a lot of good points in it. Aside from the horrible language, he actually has a dictionary of old curse words from the 1800s that he intersperses, which are actually quite humorous in some cases. But anyway, by the time we'd had our discussion, I could see this might be a winner, though I didn't think the judges would see past the darkness, as I didn't until we had the discussion. And I noticed Eric, we asked him what he thought was going to win the Dublin, and he thought it might be this one. And so I titled this, Eric called it, because he did. I thought, oh, it couldn't possibly win. People just aren't that in tune with literary fiction that they'd realize it's good writing, even though it's horrible. Anyway, so it won. Being in the group, Eric he was there at it. He had an interview with one of the first interviews with the author of it, where I learned even some more things about it. It was a great interview. I assume he'll be putting that out for everybody soon. But in it, he talked about the author talked about the fact that this is a sequel, in a way, to another book he wrote called The Innocence, which I had already checked out of the library, also by him, which takes place as 4 or 5 years, he wrote 4 or 5 years earlier, along the same waterway in Newfoundland. And this one's completely different. It's the other side of a brother-sister relationship, he said, and has all the same characters in this little town. Not the same, but the same type, but it's just completely different. So many in our book group, we talked about it, said they really wanted to read this. I just checked it out of the library yesterday. So anyway, but I'm going to go through the other ones that were on the short list, which I read, and I actually made a list in ranking order from least, what I least expected to win for many reasons, and towards what I wanted to win. And the first one, I have to say, that I least expected to win was James. Now, I'm not saying it's not a great book. In fact, my fifth grade teacher read this book to her class. One of the high points of my elementary school life. We even got to have a movie for it at the end. I won't tell you about the movies when I was young. They were on big rolls anyway, but we were just delighted. That was the high point of the year. And I just think James has had enough accolades, and plus it's an international prize. I just really wasn't happy about the thought of American getting another prize. Okay, and when I first put them, I put the next one, the one that won, because as I said, it was so dark, I just couldn't picture it, a group of judges picking it. And since then, my mind has turned to the opposite viewpoint after our discussion. Eric also wrote a great, made a great YouTube video on this book, which I'll leave a link to also, which explains it in a way that you realize it is very literary fiction and very well done. Okay, the next one we're starting at what I didn't think would win for various reasons. The next one on the list, which would have been fourth, we're up to fourth, is Prophet's Song. It gave me the shivers. It was too near to true life in America today. It opened up, I guess it's kind of in the future, with a woman in Dublin. I believe this one was too. Anyway, policemen come to the door. They want her husband. He's not home from work yet. It's very ominous. You can tell it's building up to this. Long story, her husband goes in. He's a union representative. He's a teacher and a union representative. And the new government is disappearing people, you might say. And through it just becomes, talk about darker and darker, and not something I really want to think of right now in this country. So anyway, that was I didn't think it would win, though it was well written. It was good. They all were. Okay, the next, number third, is Not a River. It's a translation from Argentina, and it also is pretty dark, but you can really feel the good writing in it. It's actually about a small town on a river, and there's some kind of wild things going on there. People people finding bodies, and it's just very eerie if you want dark. Again, I thought, I don't think they'll pick something that dark, but it has gotten a lot of attention as a good book. Okay, second, which I had picked out, another translation, We Are Light, by Dutch. It's translated from the Dutch, and it, in fact, won the Dutch Booksellers Prize. This one, I'm not going to talk about too much because I don't want to give away a huge spoiler that you'll know right away when you read about it or something. But Actually, it's about four people, adults, three women and men who live in kind of a commune type house. And one of them dies. They're very secretive. One of them dies, and the police are very suspicious of this death, which didn't appear really natural. And it takes the other people, the other three people in and separates them and grills them. Now, again, I'm leaving out a big part of this, but it's a really interesting book, and I liked it a lot, and I've heard a lot of good things about it. And the one I would have picked out to win before knowing about the one that did win is North Woods by Daniel Mason. This actually is a kind of dreamy type book, I think you would say. It starts out with 100 years ago or so with a couple running away from some kind of Puritan or cruel thing, and they find this land and they build a cabin. And over the years, the main character is almost the cabin, the house. It's built onto different people come to live there, but there's kind of a almost speculative type feeling of the spirits that are around there, and it's really well done. You could really picture the forest that it's in, and that would have been my choice in the first place. But I certainly congratulate Michael Crummy for his Adversary. Okay, hope you get to read some of these. They're all pretty good. Thanks. Bye.